Alright, what's cracking? Okay, I'm gonna make myself a little bit smaller. Wonderful. Okay, so this is a new song that I've been working on. It's called Cannonball. It's pretty cool. I like it a lot. There are a lot of big harmonies and stuff. Let's see the board. There it is. A lot of plugins. It's big, big fella. Yes. Anyway, yeah, I had a really good time making this one. It's pretty complicated. There are a lot of harmony stuff. It's, the hook is kind of driven by the harmony, which is cool. Never really done a song like that before. It's laid out like A, B, C, D. There's a weird little breakdown thing in the last little segment. But, yeah, let's run through it. So we have a bass track for the verse and drums and all that jazz, and it's just vocals and a keyboard. Why am I soloing all that? Sorry. Anyway, let's see if I can play it. It's your favorite problem movie, but what about tonight, baby? All the times chasing, never wanna drive. Anyway, and then we get into the pre-chorus and stuff. But the coolest thing here for me is the bass. I really like the effects on the bass, and then, drums and a big booming kick and stuff. Yeah. So that's fun. Anyway, so I wanted a kind of a drivey but mellow verse, and then a huge, gigantic chorus with a lot of vocals. So yeah, it's just two vocal tracks doing the same thing. This one has a phaser on it. I'll get into that later. Excuse me. I had a diet beverage, so I'm burpy. Anyway, so then, the push into the pre-chorus is these harmony tracks. And it's panned left, middle, right. So your ear's kind of following it all the way through. So yeah, so that's cool. And then which is red. I like that sound a lot. A lot of people ask me about that, and some people have come up to me and they've looked through waves.com and stuff, and they've purchased tape slow down guys, and really it's just an effect in Logic that's if you double or I think double click or do two fingers clicks. I don't even know. I don't know the terminology, but yeah, it's just another alternative to a fade out, but instead of it's rad. I like it a lot. Anyway, so pre-chorus kind of drops off a little bit. My love is tenfold. You're something special. Step into the house of Yes, so yeah, the snare right here is gone, so it's just kick and a piano comes in. And I like the riser. There's a slow riser right here that's coming up. And then, as you can see, there's a lot more going on in the chorus. So what I kind of wanted for this chorus was sort of a teenage dream Katy Perry thing. I really like the power chords in it. I don't even want to call it a guilty pleasure. It's a good song. Yeah, people are gonna hate me for that, but that's okay. But yeah, I wanted to have the big power chord stuff. Oh, whoops. So I did this. Let's solo it. Yeah, so it's just a C chord, just yeah. And then the most interesting thing is the vocals. It's a C mu major 7 harmony that resolves into something else. But yeah, it's really cool. I like how big it is. Cannonball, got a picture in my pocket, gonna blame it on me. I'm stuck on the simple things. What's the trouble? Problematic tendencies are nothing but a dream. I'm sticking to simple things. So that's fun. And then I like, these are more guitar tracks. And it's really funky, really cool. I love this effect in the pop sparkler is one of my favorite guitar sounds in Logic. But yeah, the weird thing for me, the thing I struggled with during this chorus is, the vocals are always drivey, they're always going, so, initially I thought, like, okay, just leave it at that, and you're good. But, I kept listening back, and I was like, all right, something's missing, and then got this little guitar track. And that added a lot of depth and kept it drivey and funky and cool. And that's, played separately, just panned a little left and right. What else do we have going on? Let's see, we have the hi-hat comes in. That's just, a Logic sound through a bit crusher, and it's just... There it is. Oh, we're peaking a little bit. That's okay. What else? Oh, yeah, I also threw in this drum track just to have the kick and the snare have a bit more of a pocket. So it's mid-rangey. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's a pocket for, everything else going on. Well, I just noticed how colorful this was. Good for me. Okay, what else? So yeah, we come out of the chorus big and strong. And something that I wanted to do was, I was struggling with, because the verses are pretty quiet and pretty tight, I was struggling with, transitioning from a huge chorus back into a, 6-track verse. And this little cutoff here with the synth solo. I really like that. Like, it doesn't, as you're listening to it, it's a huge cutoff, but in reality, it's, fairly similar to what to expect in the verse. So, and then when the verse hits, your ear is accustomed to that, the simplicity of it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Anyway, the second verse, it's pretty straightforward, same thing going on. It's your favorite kind of new scene. It's gonna make you cry, baby. The feelings are adjacent to your mind's eye. The only major difference is that there are a few more tracks. I love this synth sound right here. Yeah, I like that. That's fun. There's a guitar track cooking along. I like these guys a whole lot. That's just cutting up and pasting and all that jazz. Anyway, the harmonies are just reinforcing the transition to the pre-chorus. To your mind's eye. So there's that. And then we're cooking along, then we have a little synth cue into it. So there's that. And the only new instrument in the second chorus is this guy. It's kind of a pad sound. I have a side-chained pad somewhere. Here it is. Just to give the kick a little more movement, but I wanted something that sits more on top. So let's solo these two guys so you can hear the difference. Yeah, so the this guy right here is obviously more high end. This is more low end. This one has some balls. This one is lacking balls. Anyway, so yeah. So after the second chorus, we get into the bridge, and yeah, I really struggled with the bridge a lot because I wanted to go back into the quiet thing, but it's too drivey. The bridge is supposed to be a huge, a big climax. Yeah, so I decided to keep all the vocal stuff, and this is actually I'll solo the vocals. I
can see the mountain, baby. Cannonball, cannonball. I can see the darkness, baby. Cannonball, cannonball.
Yeah, so it works. It works. And then all the guitar tracks are moving and grooving. The bass, it's pretty similar to the chorus. The only thing is, the only chord difference is that it goes minor briefly into a transition, but that's nothing to be alarmed about. The strings are just octaves, just to, keep it pushing. All these guitar tracks are pretty cut up, and the bass is, well, no, the bass isn't at all, never mind. But yeah, the guitar tracks are pretty cut up just because I wanted it to be very choppy. And then, anyway, so out of the chorus, I didn't really know what to do. It was really boring at first, and then I just decided to do a gigantic harmony thingy. But yeah, it was fun. So it sounds like this. Yeah, and yeah, it's really dry, and then it just, it's kick and bass come back in, which is cool. I like that a lot. Well, and the guitar. So yeah, we get into the third verse.
No one really wants to chase it. Something got your eyes. Contemplative day spent with your new guy. No hesitation.
Yeah, so it goes like, yeah, there's a build up. Da 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 da. I'm gonna make myself a little smaller. Build up, all that jazz, and then it gets back into the third chorus. But the build up sounded different on this one, so I wanted the chorus to be different. And so I shook up. As you can see, there's a new drum track right here, and that's a new snare, a new hi-hat. I kind of wanted a trappy sounding hi-hat. That's all that jazz. So let's listen to the drums. There we go. Yeah, so it's that. Pretty cool. That reverb sound on the snare was kind of tricky. I didn't really know how to figure that out, but I got it. It was just a reverse button, and then we were good to go. Yeah, I really like it. It gives the chorus a lot more room, especially on a huge build-up, coming out of the bridge. We want to resolve, and it's like, okay. Yeah, altogether it sounds like this.
Cannonball, got a picture in my pocket, gonna blame it on me. I'm stuck on my simple thing. What's your problematic tendencies?
And then we, we're adding more instruments as a build-up. And then it gets a little crazy. So after that chorus, I wanted to just shake it up. I don't know. So we get into this. There's a big old key change, a tempo change, and all that jazz. So it sounds like this. That was fun. I do that a lot in my music. If I don't want to write an out chorus that matches the key, I just change it up a lot. So it goes from 127 to 102, which is pretty large. And the few things that are happening is this spliced up drum track. It's just nonsense, and then it kind of starts to make sense. The other thing is this synth track that's just a hell of a lot of plugins that are just stupid. So there's that. There's this guy. It's pretty straightforward. It's a A flat major 7 sus 4 on the bass. And then it goes into E flat major 7. That's the new key rather than C major or an E flat major 7. Anyway, so yeah, we get into that. We're grooving at 102. And I really like that hi-hat sound, and I didn't, just want to have it in one specific segment, so I decided to add that back in, and it acts as sort of a build-up. Information. No, I want information. I'm going to go this way. Ooh. Oh, I want this way. Okay. Yeah, so we start building up. We're used to it now. Oh, whoops. Then it breaks down into the, main progression. Vocals are going like that. It's just, it's straight up, nothing complicated like the chorus.
Step into the light, folks, and you're gonna tell me what for. Stranger things occurring, settle in, settle in, settle in.
Settle in is what I decided to say. And then it starts building up again.
Got a favorite emotion, abilities of platform, crumbling, crumbling. Step into the light.
I really like doing that. I like coming in on the one just because it's disorienting a little bit, but not enough where people don't like it. I mean, if I could understand if you don't like it. Anyway, so the guitar tracks, I really like the guitar tracks. This guy is just chicken picking along. Yeah, we got a wah pedal up in there. I like this one a lot. This one's fun. And flash. Shoot. We'll fix that one. And then this is the solo thing. So there it is. The drums get more 1, 2, 3, 4 after this. Let's see. So without vocals, I like hearing it without vocals. Yeah, so that's about it. Yeah, there are more harmonies here. I just wanted a bigger sound. What else? That's about it. Yeah. So I will talk about plugins and tones and all that jazz. Okay, so for the main keyboard sounds on this song, it's this clav phaser guy. And I wanted more of a high-end ordeal for the chorus. So here. And then for the verse, it's cut a little bit. And the volume's down. Just because I wanted the verse to be very, very vocal, drum, bass driven. As we build up, what else? Is there anything interesting? Not really. Piano, yeah, there's a Steinway. There's just a microphase on the main synth thing. Where's some cool stuff? Well, yeah, for this guy, let's talk about this guy. Okay, this guy was fun. Yeah, that was cool. So, first it just was really, when I first got that sound, it was really basic. But then I did all that. Added some delay, some reverb, some phase distortion, which is really cool. So it can, sit back here, which is rad. Tremolos, and the smoothing is, there's no smoothing, so it's just back and forth, and the phase is large. What else? Vocals. So for the verse vocals, JJP vocals, I cannot recommend this plugin enough. This shit is the bomb. It's radical. There's a compressor. There's highs and lows. A de-esser. It's my favorite plugin out there. I recommend it to everybody. I talk about it way too much. Anyway, so there's that. There's some reverb, 2 EQs, an exciter, which, yeah, then obviously. Pitch correction. Yeah, there's pitch correction. I just wanted like a synthesizer-esque sound for the vocals. And then this bus is, so I'm side-chaining echo. So if we go like this, so basically so for those who don't know what sidechaining is, it's taking one sound, so like, and then if you sidechain it to like a kick drum's going do, do, do. The sound goes, so like that's very common pop music and all that jazz. But I'm sidechaining this echo to the vocals. So whenever the vocals stop singing, the echo comes up, which is really cool. And I didn't want to do with automations and stuff, having to bring, echo up and all that jazz. So I just got lazy.
It's your favorite from movie.
But yeah, so when the vocals are singing, the delay is down. Wow. Yeah, when they're singing, there's no echo, but when they're not, it comes up. I like putting a little phaser on another track of my vocals. I mean, I don't even know if you could hear that, but like all it does, it just gives it a little more space. I like how phasers sound on low vocals. And notice there's not one for the chorus because it's up high. Yeah, I don't know why. I really like that. It gives it more space. And yeah, the phaser is not really going very well. I guess not. Yeah, I don't know. I just like that sound. For the harmonies, yeah, nothing really interesting there. For the main vocals, so this guy.
Cannonball, got a picture in my pocket, gonna blame it on me.
Yeah, so I didn't do the side chaining delay because I wanted it pretty dry and choppy. There's some reverb, pitch correction. This is cut a lot. I'm actually gonna keep that. Yeah, so that's what that looks like. Originally, I had a talkbox track with the vocals, but it sounded too muddy. I mean, I love the sound. Yeah, really, really like that sound. It just got too muddy. But yeah, there's a dubbed vocal track here, and it's cut pretty far, so it's just high-end noise. Just gives some more depth. There's a side-chained guy right here. There's a phaser, a spreader, all that jazz. The guitars, the gain, the phase, so that's something. And the effect of that is it just kind of sits oddly in the mix, but I love that sound. Yeah, it's cool. There's these guys. Oh no, it's spinning ball. Oh dear. We're cooking. We're running a little bit hot tonight, as David Lee Roth once said. Then we talked about the power chords. Oh, something that I learned that is really, really cool, especially with lead guitars, or any guitar that's pretty big in the mix. If you want reverb, like if it's, if its intent is to have reverb on it, I like, so generally what I do is I pan it just very slightly left or right, and then the opposite pan what I do is I use a reverb track and just bring the drive way down, so it's just reverb on the right side, and it's super subtle, but it gives it a whole lot of depth. I mean, you can barely hear that, but in the, if it was loud and we could solo it, it sounds very spacious. And yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be able to pick up on that in the mix, but it's cool. I like it. These guys were failures. I did not include those. The Pop Sparkler, I think we talked about that. The bass is cool. I really like the bass sound. Where? Yeah, so we're doing that. That's an auto filter. That's kind of the main thing, and that's the rate. The stereo phase is very small, so it's moving a little bit. Oh, not that much. Slow your load. Pedal board, what do we have going on? Oh, a squash compressor. I tried to do an octave, but it just got way too muddy. Noise gate. That's pretty straightforward. The drums, a lot of drum tracks here. There's a cool little bit crusher, but you can't really hear the bit crush business. There's an auto filter, that's the rate. The hi-hat, like I said, the hi-hat is, obviously a de-esser and enveloper, sorry. And the bit crusher to give it the tss sound. The kick drum. Yeah, that was pretty complicated. That kick drum kicked my ass. The hi-hat and the snare. So the snare, I'll show you guys the reverb on it. Yeah, so it's just that. I actually want to do that. There we go. Yeah, so it's that. I like the big sweepy sound. I've used that in a couple of my songs. There's some snaps going on. That's, I don't know what the hell that track is. That should be muted. Some risers. There's a, what's that? God, this track is big. Some bass drops with the fat PH FX. I like it. It's just basically a compressor. Yeah, and the snare fill is the walkie business shaker, and then this guy. I think that's about it. Anyway, yeah, a lot of audio tracks, and yeah, that's my song. It should be released in the next week or so. It's gonna be on Apple Music and Spotify and YouTube and all that jazz. So go check it out if you want to. If not, I understand.